let's jump in. Let's see here. So we announced the swap reward program last week. Happy to kind of go over any questions anybody here might have around that, or if anybody's got any other questions, happy to jump in. Or if you guys just want to talk about the weather too or whatever, it's all good. Patty Abby Poster asked if Brave donated to Elders campaign. I don't think we donated to any campaign. Try to kind of keep it neutral. Let's see here. Is there going to be a wallet or marketing push for the swap and wallet when it comes out? Yes, there will be. We actually were testing this out. Some of you may have seen it with the over the summer when we first launched swap in the legacy crypto wallet. We ran some ads that deep linked straight to the wallet. So that was a first kind of deep link ad that we ran. And so now that we have that in place, we're planning on using that for the wallet, for Brave Talk, for all the other premium products that we're bringing online too. We'll be able to run ad campaigns that will directly link people to the destination in the browser. Yeah, so pretty bullish about that. Eich asked what chains are going to be supported on the new wallet. First version, the MVP will be ETH. We're going to add multi-chain support though, so you can see BSC, Solana, Polygon support. All the other L1s, L2s that dot support, etc. Some of these might be like partnership kind of opportunities. Others might be demand from the user. So if there are like other chains you want us to see, I mean, a Bitcoin too, of course, right? Like Bitcoin, be a big one to add support to. If you guys see chains that you want us to support, let us know. You can hit us up on Twitter or whatever, or through the community channels. We can, start to. All that feedback super helpful because we know what we're testing out, but hearing demand from the community is super important. Let's see here. Any news on the CMO position? We're recruiting for it. I don't have any material updates on it yet. It's a process though. So, I mean, it'll take some time to get that role filled. But we are, interviews are happening, etc. Can you give a couple points? This is a good question. Can you give a couple points as to why Brave will replace MetaMask? So there's a few that just come to mind right away. One, MetaMask is an extension. There have been security issues around extensions that pretend to be MetaMask or whatever that have caused issues. Also, kind of MetaMask is not necessarily the most consumer friendly facing product. Even developers oftentimes have difficulty using certain parts of it. And they're getting their games, getting better, but it's still not the easiest wallet to use. Compare MetaMask to Phantom. I don't know if you all have tried out Phantom, but it's kind of a night and day user experience difference. And so, what we can do with Brave is one, create a really seamless integration in the browser. And then two, because we have Brave ads, we can run ads to pull people directly into that wallet, like I was talking about earlier, which creates a whole new level of opportunities for, us to have promotions from partners and things like that can drive value to users as well, right? So if we can make our wallet a value add for users, not just because, they can transact and get swap rewards or, get a good deal through the aggregator, but also because some of these promotions, partnerships are going to kind of give them added value otherwise. Think about what Gemini is doing with their credit card, right? You could put a credit card in the Brave wallet and be earning crypto back on your credit card purchases that also link to your Gemini account in Brave, right? And things like that, where the most hardcore DeFi decentralized people are not necessarily fans of that thing, but that's not the mainstream. Like the mainstream is not as, against doing these types of things. And so I think, the other element that we bring to the table is that we're a browser. So we can reach out to people when they're not necessarily, transacting or thinking of transacting, and pull them into a transaction. So I think that, it's on us. If we can drive value, like with a user first wallet, that's kind of, at the heart of this thing, and can bring in education to get people, familiar with what these new options are. Because that's the other part of this, is once you start to kind of like break into like, okay, what's out there with crypto, it's really noisy and confusing. Like people, the worst place people could go is Twitter to kind of try and figure their way through here. But if we can provide like, education too through this, even if it's simple how-tos or help or whatever, options, etc., like we can really drive a lot of growth. But I think, good UX, UI, rewards, benefits that you won't get from MetaMask, usability, all that stuff's key. And then, the ability to use it as kind of an on-ramp to DeFi, but also, as an on-ramp from just credit cards to, easier crypto to advanced crypto. I hope that helps. All right, let's see here. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask me, over the microphone?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, man, I'm just a big fan of this community. I really think that you guys are doing great work. I did text in the chat. Someone else had mentioned it on Reddit, and then someone else mentioned it here. The DEX fees. I'm not too familiar with the DEX and what are standard rates, but I heard it's going to be a solid rate. Is that correct? There's going to be one solid rate all the time?
Yeah. So the way the swaps work right now is a 0.875 fee applied to the swaps, and then with the swap reward program, you'll get 20% back, a rebate on your fees.
Okay, but I also thought, because I had heard maybe in other chats that like there would be some aggregation and like some AMMs working to always get the like kind of like how Uber always calculates that fee at the moment, right?
Right. Like there's a flat fee on basically like the same fee is applied regardless of the aggregation. So what we're trying to find you is the best rate. So we'll find you the best rate for the purchase that you're trying to make, and then there's a fee on top of that rate for the service, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. This is amazing, man. This is Brave technically a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization?
No, Brave's a private company, right? Like, but we're open source, and we listen to the community. I mean, like everything from, that's the cool thing about working here and kind of the ethos in the company is that we are a user first company, right? So it's not a DAO, it's a private company, but at the same time, everybody's input's important, right? Like, and we listen to it. And so, this type of thing doesn't happen from the top down, right? Like it happens because people like the product and they tell their friends about it, or they hear about it and get started and then tell their friends about it, right? Like having kind of a movement behind this is super important. And I think that it can get lost a lot, but really like what Brave is doing is fundamentally driving value to people that are using the web and kind of getting devalued at the same time, right? Like in other browsers. So like if we can pull you in and say, hey, look, here's a way to earn $5-6 a month just for using the internet. And by the way, it's a better internet that's faster, cleaner, and has all these different options to support creation, to buy things, etc. Like your other browser isn't doing that, right? Like that's kind of the key, is to get those table stakes down and then build on top of that. Like, and so much is happening right now in crypto that, is exciting, but also challenging. And how can we pick the, different variations of, whether it's NFTs or, DeFi, like how can we distill the complexity down into something that's easy for people to understand? Like I keep using this Gemini card example, but it's like people understand 3% cash crypto back on stuff because they're used to dealing with cash back, for credit card programs, things like that. Those are the ways that you onboard millions of people. Let me see the value without having to, get a degree in what you're telling me, and then just let me get something for doing something I normally do anyway, right? So I think that there's just this huge opportunity here for us, and we're not a DAO, but we listen, and things like this weekly call, but even down to Brendan being on Twitter, right? And talking to anybody that has an issue, and then when he hears about it, we hear about it. He brings those tweets into our comms and internally and shares them with people, and I do the same. After every one of these calls, I'll go in, and if I hear certain issues that people are experiencing, I take them to the performance team or to the rewards team or to the Brave Talk team, right, and tell them, hey, look, the call went great, but here's some feedback, right? So it's really important for us to be there with everybody and for everybody's voice to matter.
Yeah, and my final question would be that, I am in other groups and communities, and I'm sure you guys are familiar how the Bitcoin guys are, and they're like, oh, everything's horrible, don't use it, don't do anything. But I do try to get some people are more receptive to it, oh, it's a browser, it's a company, it's not always about BAT. You can turn off the ads, you don't have to earn BAT. But basically my question is this. They tell me, oh, this coin isn't good because when I go change my BAT into Satoshi or into Bit or whatever, they're like, oh, you're going to get a horrible rate and your BAT coin's going to be useless. No one's going to want to trade Bitcoin for BAT. What do you think about that?
I mean, people do though, right? And I think, it's if the whole objective is to just collect tokens and dump them, right? Then that's a different type of user than what we're trying to kind of cater to here, right? We're trying to build an economy here that has value. And, if there are other projects that are compatible with the space, we can introduce them. But I think, just taking it back even further, right? We were pretty from the beginning, we used Bitcoin in the beginning and it didn't scale. So we did our own token, right? But we're very much we're much more closely aligned with Bitcoin maximalists than we are different. You know what I mean? It's the technology's there, and we're all about users having, being protected, having agency, and a lot of these shared, values across both. How we get there, I think, people have different opinions about that, right? I challenge anybody that's a maximalist to go look at the technology space and show me somewhere where there's a single company or thing that caters to everybody, and it just doesn't really exist. Even in situations where you've got, even in media, big media, there's a handful of companies, but there's still a handful of companies. It's not one wins all. It's pretty boring anyway. But I think the cool thing about what we're doing is there's potential for interoperability here, and that you can do in a browser. Developers can be working on interoperability in a browser, right? There are options here that are to our advantage to kind of exploit. If there's a better deal on a different chain for the same token you're trying to get, should we make it so that you can easily get that? Sure. I think that these areas are going to be engineered and developed more and more, and where else would you want to try them out? And I think that even when we launched the ad platform, we launched the ad platform in January, for the first developer channel release of that was January 2019, and then we put it on release channel in April. That time period, people forget, Google blocked all blockchain related advertising. Facebook was clamping down. You couldn't even send mail surveys or email newsletters out with some services that were crypto related. And we took the opposite approach. We said, look, I don't care if you're Ethereum, Bitcoin, if you're selling a hardcover book on Bitcoin maximalism and eating meat all day, I don't care. We'll advertise that. We want this space to grow. And when these big companies were blocking the ability for blockchain projects to market, you're really stunting growth in that market. And so we're not we try to be pretty agnostic here. I mean, within reason, but we've been experimenting too. Like, BAT's available on Binance Smart Chain. I was running some tests with I know Solana is kind of having a rough day today, but like last week and last week I was running some tests with the Wormhole bridge on Solana to wrap BAT. And there are more and more options. Wherever we can take BAT, we should be taking it there. And as long as it's not insecure, unreliable, etc. But like these are all opportunities to get BAT in front of more people. And yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and my personal opinion is that if anyone's doing crypto, they need BAT. Like BAT is essential as far as the browser. I mean, and just to your point of like testing different things, I wish you would like Twitch stream that stuff so like we could watch because that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like just triple. It wouldn't be the most entertaining thing, but I've been that's one thing I'm actually trying to do a lot more of is while there's working hours and then there's Luke's also into crypto, right? Like, and those things don't necessarily always overlap, and you'll see I'm going to do more and more experimenting kind of in the open with some of these things. Like I was tweeting about this last night and this morning. Like I'm super into like what the Instadap team's doing. It's kind of like power tools for DeFi, and they just made this feature available to create Uniswap version 3 pools in Instadap and get additional rewards for them. And it's been something I've been kind of chomping at the bit to try out, is kind of seeing what kind of BAT pool we could put together in there. So more of this experimentation, right? Like I think others should be doing that too. Like that's one thing we like to kind of amplify too when we see people experimenting. So if you all are feeling experimental, let us tweet at us. We'll let folks know. But yeah, I'll be a little more out there with it too. All right. Anyone else have any questions they want to ask? Okay, we got an L up here.
Yeah, I got a question.
Oh yeah, Lambo Larry. I remember you from last week.
Yeah, so I'm asking like a similar question from last time, but like right now the payment structure for like an ad is like when a user clicks on it, 70% goes to the user and 30% goes to Brave. And I was wondering, is there any chance like that rate would change? Like maybe in the future, content creators, instead of getting 0%, maybe the 10% like by default. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like, let me just like, just to step back one to the beginning of it. So users receive BAT. They receive 70% of the revenue share in BAT for actually viewing the ad. So like they don't have to click on the ad, right? Like, and that's something we should probably communicate a little bit better too in the UI. But like, so we don't want everybody clicking on everything. We want people clicking on stuff that they're interested with, because that the best thing for unless you're curious, right? Like in by all means, if you're curious, go for it. But yeah, you're earning off of just viewing that notification or viewing that sponsored image in the browser. And then, every metric that you hit down the funnel from there, it's we're not rewarding based off that yet. We're working on options for complete a survey, get BAT, or kind of make it through the ad and you can get different rewards throughout the funnel, but we haven't landed that stuff yet. So just to kind of clarify that, right? Like, so you're getting paid on the ad view, not on the click. Now to get back to your question though, around the revenue share. So with these user ads where it's just Brave and the user, right? Like, and the brand, those ads, so the notifications, the sponsored images, the Brave news ads, right? Like those are all living in the units in the browser. So the user's getting 70%, Brave's getting 30%. The publisher ads that we've been looking at releasing, those will give the content creator 70% of the revenue, and the user will get 15 and Brave will get 15. So yeah, these ratios of the revenue share will change out. And I think that one thing that we do for creators is when a user opts into Brave ads, auto contributions are turned on automatically. And that's part of the thought behind that, is to just kind of automatically jumpstart content creators to get, to get paid from the ads that people are viewing. But, some people turn that off, right? And we give people the option to turn that off. So I agree. I think that there are more there, at least at the program level, there are things that we could do to help incentivize, rewarding creators more. And some of that's in mid-process now. Like we sunsetted the referral program that was a creator program that we had that a lot of creators actually did pretty well when they were running it, where people would refer people to Brave and get, a bonus for referring people. You can see a revamped version of that coming out. And then I mentioned this on the last call too. We've been working on some pilots with some creators to kind of show, okay, like here's ways that you can grow the audience with Brave. So that whether that could be like, lower cost ad campaigns or ways that we can help to kind of offset some of that cost. These are things we're exploring, I think. But the user rev share on the 70% side, I think is pretty. I wouldn't see us changing that soon, but as we add more ad units that are creator centric, like you'll see more creator rev share. I think, hope that helps answer the question. But I agree. Like, I think that there are ways that we can do more to support creators, and some products that we're releasing too, like Brave Talk. I would expect to see some options there that'll help to support creators too. I'm not really going to blow them right now and give them away before we launch it, because we're actually pretty excited about it. But yeah, we're definitely thinking about this. Like, we're thinking about it on not just a website owner level, but also like, okay, people that are verified a Twitter handle or YouTube channel, or, because as these verification options have kind of grown, it's gotten more down to that user level. And it's like, you could be able to host a Brave Talk room and get tips, or do a live stream, things like this that people could be contributing to you therefore. So our heads are definitely there. So I hope that helps answer the question.
Yeah, and then just to clarify, so a publisher ad, that's not going to be a pop-up in like the top right corner. That's going to like be built into like a blog's website.
Yeah.
Is that how it would work?
Yeah, and right now there's even a switch in the creator's dashboard where you can toggle that on. So it's an opt-in feature, right? Because we don't want to like all of a sudden have creators saying like, wait a minute, I didn't opt into this. Like I didn't okay you to place ads on my site, right? So like what we're doing is we have a toggle that's already in there. The last time I checked, we had something like 5,000 or so creators. I think this was like a long time ago too. So I don't have the latest number on that, but yeah, you can opt into it right now. And then as we test it out, the folks that have opted in will be included in those early tests. And yeah, so that'll be in the page level content. We'll have ad units there that will feed from the catalog that we serve all the other ads through. So it's kind of like an option. So publisher could go in and they could say, okay, I want to run my own ads through here and then traffic them, or they could, check a box and basically say, okay, Brave can serve relevant ads here from the catalog, and then I'll just collect 70%.
Wow, yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know about that. All right, thank you.
Yeah, the challenge with that, I mean, like, and I had Jimmy on last week. My colleague Jimmy Secretan was on last week, and the challenge with this is kind of like comes down to the economics of it with our current scale. And so as we continue to grow, we'll probably be we'll start to roll out more ad units that are like that. Right now, Brave News ads are kind of a warm up to that, which I don't know if y'all have checked them out yet, but check them out because the new ad unit, you can earn more BAT from it. All right, let me look at some of the questions in the feed here. When's Brave playlist coming to Android? I'm not sure. Let me find out about that and get back to you on that one. Peter Schiff. Wow, Peter Schiff. We're among the gold bugs are here. When is the CEX schedule? I don't know what the CEX schedule for release question is about. We are not releasing a centralized exchange as far as I know. Hope that helps clarify that one. Do you expect Brave user asked, do you expect the wallet to drag more existing Brave users into the BAT side of the browser? Yeah, I do. I think that that's a great question. I mean, it's relevant to the swap rewards program that we announced last week. So the swap rewards program people will opt into that. It'll opt into rewards. People will be able to earn more BAT that way. And then also, people might just not have time to kind of like learn about BAT or whatever, but people save payment options in the browser, right? Like this is a whole new method of discovery for BAT is going to be through the wallet, and how people can, hopefully drive more curiosity and awareness and demand too, through this. But the wallet's really going to be a key feature that we're going to put up. Taxa Rich asks, do you think the amount of people opting into rewards will increase a lot when the wallet and swap are released? I do. I think that, one of those things that we're able to offer are like swap rewards that MetaMask isn't necessarily offering, right? Like, and opting into that opts into ads, and we provide control. So if people don't like the amount of ads they're getting, they can go in and edit that down, but you're still opted in, right? Like you're still seeing sponsored images at the base level. So like you have a good lower bound there, and then you can have a good upper bound of up to 10 ads an hour. So it's a good balance, right? Like, and we can bring people in through that feature. I think, when we really release Brave Talk, there will be you can start one-to-one calls if you opt into rewards. And so we're hoping to see, an increase in opt-in rate just by offering this basically free. It's even better than free because you actually earn BAT over time, using this thing. So, these are hooks that we are putting in place intentionally to increase the opt-in rate and the adoption of the rewards ecosystem. I think there's a lot we could be doing around, certain NFTs drops or functionality that could help drive opt-in too. But I also think NFTs are kind of, it's interesting because they're really hot in crypto, but then, I've discovered this the hard way a bunch of times. Like if you mention NFT in non-crypto threads or with people that aren't necessarily into crypto, but might be artists, it can get really sideways really quick because there are some very, misconceptions and very, very strong opinions. And I don't think that we're quite there yet with it, with getting them. I think moving ETH to ETH2 will help, but, unless you're using something already on proof of stake, it's kind of a hard thing to defend right now. So it's an interesting dynamic right now where you've got OpenSea is eating up so much gas on Ethereum, but also, people outside of crypto are saying, why are you killing the planet? It's not necessarily logical either, but it's just the world we kind of live in right now. All right, let's see what, okay. We've got, will the fee be lowered on the DEX? 0.85 is too high competitive with other DEXs. Will any portion of the swap fees be used to buy back and distribute BATs to stakers or burned like other DEXs do? Well, 0.875 is competitive. It's what MetaMask is also charging. So, there could be room to play there. I think the bigger concern is around gas fees, the cost of gas, right? Like that's definitely kind of a barrier right now, and hopefully will get better over time. But yeah, that's a bigger concern, I think, than the 0.875. And there is some play there. We could try some things out there. But I think part of what we're trying to do with the swap rewards is give people 20% off of, basically 20% off, in BAT at the end of the month or whenever we distribute them out. So hopefully that helps offset some of the costs and keeps people transacting and then also earning BAT from the browser too. But will a portion of the swap fees be used to buy back and distribute BAT to stakers or burn like other DEXs? I think that we're kind of kicking around some thoughts around, because 20% it'll require opt-in. So like 100% of people are not going to opt into this thing right away. So there will be some overage, right? Like, and one thought is you could give out a bigger rebate or you could do other options. So we're exploring some other options here in addition to this. And the other thing I'd say is that, the swap reward program is the first one that we're doing that's tied to the wallet like this, but it's not the last one. So, just like we had a referral program, just like we've got, different channels to earn, I think that, this isn't the only program that we're going to do. It's just the first one that we're doing around this. So, we're taking feedback in. We're also kind of exploring, okay, what are options that we can do, from a legal perspective? What's the safest route for us to go? What's the best value for the user? What's the best value for the most amount of users? Because some of these things also get into a territory where it's like, okay, rewarding BAT holders is great if you're a massive BAT holder, but like, how does that get distributed among the group, right? Like, and what are the fairest ways to do that? So these all are pretty kind of complex options, and we're a little bit different than a traditional DEX because we have a very big user base. So it means we approach things a little bit differently. Like, we can't, you don't, in this environment, you don't necessarily want to have any kind of political theme to anything because you alienate a big portion of your audience. Well, also, not everybody, like, you've got a good contingent of people that are holding some BAT, but we also have a contingent of people that are whales, like, making sure that we don't alienate one group or that we have a balanced and fair approach has kind of always been something that we've tried to do. So I would expect us to do, to keep that and not necessarily try to be too one-sided with it. So I hope that helps. I know it doesn't directly answer the question, but we're exploring options. I think that the swap rewards one's the first one that we're doing, and stay tuned, because with the wallet, there are options where we can, collaborate or partner with some of these DeFi protocols too, and provide, additional liquidity, other things like that could net out rewards, things like that. Like, it's still early. There's still ways that we can, provide more value and encourage adoption of BAT. I don't think we'll burn BAT necessarily. We already have like kind of a max supply, and but that said, I mean, we're open to options too. All right, let's see here. Does anybody have a question they want to ask over audio? If not, I will just keep going through this chat.
Yeah, can I ask another question about the publisher ads?
Please do.
Yeah, so is the publisher ads, is that just for websites, or could like YouTubers and like Twitch streamers opt into that too?
Yeah, I think it's something, I don't think we haven't put a limit on who can opt into it so far, and I think that that's healthy. I think that there are ways that we can, integrate the ads that, I mean, we're from the browser level, right? So we can inject ads directly into the page content. There are ways that we could make ads work with video, make ads work around video, right? So I wouldn't limit it to only publishers. We might approach that first because, one, we have working code that we can do already, but I don't think that it'll be limited there. And like I said earlier, we can have programs for YouTube creators. That's one thing that we've been driving up numbers on with case study tests and things like that, is to show value on that end of it too. So yeah, like I think that it'll be open to more than just website owners.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. There's one that just popped in. Luke, or Tax the Rich, asked, Luke Bad is currently flirting with the idea of falling out of the top 100. Do you think that by the end of this year, some of the new features come out that it will start to surpass some of the other shit coins? Well, yeah. I mean, I think, these wallet and these other options are going to put BAT in front of a lot more people, right? Like, and we're very cognizant of the need to have BAT in more places. I think that, I don't like that we're as close to 100 as we are. That said, I mean, like, there are some other realities here. There are a lot more tokens that have come out. There's been a lot of pump and dumps that have been happening, right? Like, but like we should be creeping up higher. Like, it's a weird thing for me to kind of talk about, because I have, taking the Brave hat off and putting the Luke hat on, and just like it's kind of, the market's kind of irrational with how the market cap rankings are sometimes, like, and but I also think that us delivering and the potential that we have here and the position that we're in with this many users, if we can ship the features that can be the catalyst, we should be driving way past the other tokens. So I hope that helps answer the question. If anybody wants to follow up over audio, I'm happy to kind of address that too.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask, because you were asking about alienating people and stuff, and just because I like to get the community excited about like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when like video gamers are all using BAT, and like you're playing chess versus friends or tic-tac-toe, and the winner gets the BAT, for little portions. But do you ever see an operating system or maybe an app store in the future for this company potentially?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the neat things about the wallet is that, you know, we're going to start to surface other applications through the wallet, right? Like, so DeFi management, DeFi protocols, NFT marketplaces, right? Like, and this all goes in a direction towards exactly what you're talking about, right? Like, and, you know, once we can hit critical mass in a certain levels, then you can see SDK implementations, things like that go beyond the browser too. And so, yeah, like, I think that, you know, BAT is the unit of account for attention and for the attention economy, right? Like, you know, let's plug it into DeFi, plug it into gaming, plug it into the attention economy, right? Like inside Brave and then take it outside of Brave, right? Like, and BAT should be, you know, just the token to use for these things. Like fungible attention tokens can be swapped for non-fungible tokens, right? Like, or you know, play games, buy stuff for games, buy goods and services, right? Like, some of these things that are still kind of elementary, but you know, putting the pieces together in these early days is important, and then building on top of them quickly and making it easy for developers to integrate them is key too.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys can hear me, but just to the community at large, I mean, I use Android and I have deleted the Twitter app and the YouTube app, and I do use them through the browser. So I was just checking some websites yesterday, seeing who's verified, who's not verified, and usually I go through the Alexa web ranking, see who's on the top, and I noticed a lot of the top websites are verified, but for example, for the younger generation, I noticed TikTok, the web where they share the videos, that was not verified. So is there some friction there, or because I know Huawei's working on their own operating system, but like they're failing to drop it, like what's going
Yeah,
on?
I wouldn't read into it as friction at all. Like, I think it kind of comes down to like, we have a set. I mean, like if you're, you know, YouTube, Twitch, GitHub, Vimeo, God, I know I'm missing some here. Reddit, you know, and if you own a website.
Hey, Luke. Hi, it's Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
I can help out here. So
Hey, Brendan.
we've got a person who's going to be building out other user-generated content platforms. So that includes TikTok. You have to deal with the peculiarities of their authentication. But if it's OAuth based, we can do it just like we did for YouTube, you know, Twitch, Twitter, and Reddit. So the user-generated content platforms, we're going to add more of them over time. And TikTok's on the list. You know, there are others. People want to see Spotify, as we mentioned. That's easy. The big mainline publishers that we don't have are harder because they're worried about, you know, they're thinking in zero-sum game terms. They're thinking about, well, if somebody's blocking ads, then why should I let them, you know, give me that? Because they probably won't, and I can make more off the ads. So I hate them. And that's like my 2016 era thinking. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think Substack could be cool too. I mean, like, you know, these different platforms where you're seeing a lot of independent media jumping in and kind of almost going back to the days of newsletters, right? Like, but very direct ways of communicating. That was great. Welcome, Brendan. You never know who's going to drop in. This is awesome. All right. Well,
yeah, so I'm happy to hear that. And like you said, Substack, I mean, the list never ends, but it's good to know that you guys are, you know, slowly getting to where you can get to.
Yeah. Anybody else have some other questions they want to ask?
Yeah, can I ask another one?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I heard in an interview, Vitalik Buterin was talking about IPFS, and then he like shouted out Brave, and he says like Brave has this built in, and I've never heard of this before. So like, could you talk about like the opportunity with IPFS, and if like other browsers are using this too?
Sure. Brennan, I don't know if you want to talk about IPFS, or I'm happy to too, but you're the browser guru, so. But we have IPFS integrated natively. I mean, like it's you know, interplanetary file storage. So basically, you know, it's like peer-to-peer hosting and sharing. And we actually we were talking with IPFS Pinata folks, and they have a really interesting user flow where, if you have an email account, you can basically start pinning content on IPFS. And, even if a user doesn't have IPFS enabled, we can still fall back to DNS and have that option. I think there are ways that you could, here's a way to think about it too, is that we have basically this capability with IPFS in the browser. We have 1.2 million content creators that have verified, over 1.2 million, right? Like most of these creators are not, necessarily Web3 savvy folks, and but do understand, how to generate revenue from their media, from their content. And one thing that we are positioned well to do is to introduce new value, new revenue streams for these creators. So if it's us turning around and saying, hey, look, like here's how you could use Brave to generate NFTs and bring more revenue, right? Like, or here's something new you can do with NFT that you couldn't necessarily do there. Or here's a way you can use Brave Talk as a creator, like to earn more revenue for your business, right? Like these are all wins. And I think that, Brave is empowering users, but we're really empowering creators as well. And as we go forward with these features, and even if it's something is saying,
sorry,
like,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, I was on the wrong mic, I think. I was saying we're going to invest in more user-generated content platforms like TikTok. We're going to get publishers who see the benefit of capturing users in the middle of the funnel who would bounce off a paywall. We're going to get them through the paywall by giving them BAT bypasses. So that's all coming. I would be careful about top 100 on CoinMarketCap, right? That can be manipulated all sorts of ways. Luke mentioned pump and dumps. There's just too many big powers, including nation states, at play here. So I wouldn't want to make a point prediction, but I like the question about the longer term horizon outlook, and the operating system angle is important. At some point, if you're at the mercy of the operating system, they can make rules. They may get in trouble with regulators, antitrust courts, but they can make your life miserable. So I'm still in touch with people who carried the torch from Firefox OS to KaiOS. And KaiOS Tech is the name of the company, and they're an Alcatel spinout. They've got hundreds of millions of users globally, but too much of the code is binary blobs from China. There's a chance to do a China-free OS, and if I can make the stars align, no promises. I can't open a vein and sign my name in blood, but if I can make the stars align, I'd love to make Brave OS happen.
You heard it here, folks.
Wow, I'm so happy to hear that, because that shows that you guys have the whole picture in mind. Thank God.
Yeah, Firefox OS should have happened, but Mozilla faded. It kind of slow killed it. It was painful to watch. But KaiOS carried it with help from Reliance Jio, the Indian operator, and they got to scale, and they even got a Google Ventures investment. But there needs to be a truly open source version.
Wow, that's groundbreaking. That's history in the making right there.
Can't promise it. I'm working on it, though.
All right, let's see here. Anybody else have any questions you want to ask? Someone's asking in the chat too, like Tim said, what's the ideal percentage of users opted into Brave ads? It's a good question. Like right now, obviously, like it'd be great if 100% of users were opted into Brave ads. I think getting up 40% would be incredible. I think if we can build in incentives to get even higher than that, that's even awesome too. I know, Brendan, you got on that.
Yeah, Yan Zhu, our CISO, she did a Twitter poll in 2016. Like, how many of you would, give back to creators just out of your own wallet? And how many of you would take private ads to earn to give back? And how many of you would just free ride blocking ads? And how many of you aren't sure? And it split like you'd expect. It was like 30%, 25%, 25%, 20%. And that means I think getting 30% or more would be awesome. I'd be happy.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Let's see here. Someone, Tax the Rich, says asking, when Brave launches crypto app store, will BAT be implemented in this? Could this be paid apps that BAT is used to purchase things with? A portion of the revenue goes to Devs and Brave. Have any ideas like this been floated yet? I think, like, initially it's going to be a list of applications for different categories in crypto, right? Like, so you have like, DeFi, gaming, NFTs, right? Like, and then, as we get more and more development in for more and more options to introduce BAT into these things, you can see these things evolving that direction over time, I think. But initially it's just kind of surfacing these options, because discovery is not great, like in crypto, with crypto gaming, and even if you're going to go explore a new crypto ecosystem, a lot of the times these different chains.
It's not great in the App Store either, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have like
Right,
100 something apps, and then you start to play with them, and maybe 35% of them have parts that work, right? Like, and maybe 10% of them are fully polished and functional. So it's surfacing, what's usable is important. And I think that, I and Brendan, feel free to chime in, but I wouldn't see us surfacing anything that wasn't, usable, right? Here we go. Anybody? Drew's your uncle.
Yeah, couple of questions. So the first is, since it's kind of that time of the month and half the posts are like, oh, I haven't gotten my BAT yet. Can you just kind of briefly explain, why that is? Is most of them just need to be patient and it's going to come, or is there usually some issue where they've been kind of blocked or something? I mean, obviously there's occasional issues and they need their tech support or whatever, but
Yeah, I always get nervous about that too, but if you just be patient, it always comes.
Yeah,
I heard dead air. Sorry, it's probably my end, but I didn't hear anybody for the last 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Basically asking about the payments going out. So I'm assuming you're talking about user.
I can help, Luke. I can field that.
Oh, Jimmy's here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, so right. Yeah. Well, look. First, you're totally right. Definitely appreciate everybody's patience on that. And yeah, I know people, are always eager to get it out. Get that processed. So here's where we are with some of this. It's really just been driven by sort of volume. It's one of those good problems to have, but still a problem. And because basically it's like, okay, the month wraps up and we take a few days just to make sure to finalize the numbers, everything like that. And if you don't have a connected wallet, it's usually okay, because those go up quickly, and that just involves our systems. But really what's been taking a long time the last few months, basically now with the volume that we have, for instance, like on Uphold, we are, it just like the way that we interact with their API to process those payouts, it just takes a while to get there. So we're doing a few things to help address that, because I know it's a constant, it's a point of consternation. One, I know that Chris on Luke's team is, the sort of rewards team are trying to do more work on just making it clear in the UI so people know, what to expect and when. And so I think that's an important part of it, of just like, well, okay, sometimes it'll take a few more days, but if we can at least communicate it better to you, then great. But two, probably, more importantly is, well, now that Gemini is ramping up, I think we'll start to be able to like process that stuff a little faster in subsequent months. And then we'll be working with the Uphold team on basically improving our API connections. Like we're hoping to get them to do basically a bulk API, so that we can get all those payouts to their systems faster. So, you know, and it's as things scale up, which is great. More users are, you know, using the system. We're paying out, you know, millions of users, and it's awesome. We just, you know, we probably have some work to do on our own internal tooling, and have to get our partners caught up on their integrations. But hopefully, you'll see some, you know, some improvements there over the next couple of months.
And was this the first month that we've had Gemini payments too, right? So it's like,
yeah, and we were those were a little slow for us, just from, you know, we were doing, this is the first time around we're doing it. But again, I think next month those should go a lot more smoothly.
Cool, thanks. And I just wanted to mention real quick, we had the POAP for this week. The code is AMA0915. So thanks, Luke.
hey, thanks for putting those together. It's awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, also, if anybody wants to like do the design on those one week or anything, just let me know.
Excellent. Who else has questions? Let's see here. Any other hands up? Or I can just go back to the chat. Let's go to the chat. Okay. Can you Brave swap cross-chain like ETH for AVAX? Not currently, but we are looking at options to do you know, swaps across you know, multi-chain support. Hope that helps.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey guys. I just want to say one more thing, you know, because I appreciate Brave so much. Like I said, I delete other apps, I use it, I see the benefits of it. But because I use it so much and I see the benefits of it, I also see where we can get better, which is in the Brave Search beta, right? So I use Brave Search beta as like my daily driver, and my question is like, when can we expect the improvements to reach a level where we're competitive with the Google search? How long do you think that is? Is it a 5-year thing or a 1-year thing?
Brendan, do you want to chime in on that one? Unless you're talking and you're muted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah.
Yep. I have a question. Are you using Google Fallback? Because what that will do is the browser will privately determine if the query looks complex enough that we won't have a good answer. It's pretty simple heuristic. No server chatting, no privacy leak. If the query looks hard enough, we'll give it to Google, but we prompt you to enable this. And if you do, then we mix in results from an anonymous query we send to Google, a duplicate of the same query you sent to us. And that means we can be as good or better. We don't have to catch up with their, impossibly good, index and robots. So we're using all the judo we can against them. They can't block this. This comes from your browser. You're on your own home ISP or you're roaming. It's within your rights as a user to duplicate your query. You could have typed it by hand into a second tab. You could have had an extension that does like dogpile style multi-search. In fact, what we do is just duplicate it to an anonymous query to Google's endpoint. No cookies, no login, no leakage. They see your IP address, but so what? That's you can always do anonymous queries to Google from a private window. They'll see your IP address there too. The only improvement could be a Tor private window. We don't want to take the latency and the network error risk. But if you enable Google Fallback, Brave Search is no worse than Google and independent and better for 87% of the queries, which is what our independence metric was at last I looked. And if you want to see your individual independence metric, you can find that at the bottom, Brave Search as well.
All right, great. I'm gonna make sure I'm on that.
Yeah, and are there other if there are other things that you feel like we're missing too, let us know. Like I know we've gotten some feature requests around things like, like Google does, where you can get airline, flight times and other, widgets and things like that, are integrated into search. So the team's getting feedback on those too. So I just encourage people, if there are things that you're feeling like we're missing aside from just even the search results, like let us know like what you need, so we can, add it to the list of feedback and prioritize, getting features in that people want. All right. Oh, and I see people are adding in feedback for Brave Talk too. So thank you very much. We'll make sure that. Well, Jimmy's here too, so I think he's scanning.
Yeah, I'm passing these on to our partners at AYA real time. So.
Fielding. I love it. Anybody have any questions they want to ask over audio? All right.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I'm on mobile and I can literally pull it up while we're talking here. And so I go to my settings. I mean, I guess we should do this another time, but here I go to search engines and then standard tab. My standard tab says Brave.
Right. There's the settings on Brave. If you go to the search.brave.com, I think there are settings within there, and I think Google fallback is available there.
Yeah, that hamburger. Oh, I guess if you're on mobile or on desktop, it's a hamburger menu on the right.
Okay, I see it. Okay. And I'm looking for see all settings.
If that tag takes that or something,
Right. It's not a distinct search engine default. It's a setting within Brave Search. You should get prompted for it.
Yeah, you do. Right, you do have to go to see all settings, and then it's Google fallback mixing is like. The
Okay. Yeah, I see it here. Google fallback mixing. So there. Now I just turned that on. You guys are the best. See, your technical skills never cease to amaze me.
Well, that's one of those features too, where we get that question a lot too. Is like, what, I can use Brave Search in another browser, but these features like the fallback mixing that are available in Brave is another reason to kind of get people onto Brave too. It's just a higher quality experience.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely one of the best software. You guys are doing amazing. I just switched that on. I'm very excited to see how that goes.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Where's Wojak stickers? I love that. I'll take that back too. Let's see. Anybody have any questions? Drew, go for it.
Like when it comes to Brave Talk and the search, I mean, I know you guys have talked about integrating BAT into like the search and stuff like that, and then also having like these paid premium features. So I guess a question I have is, what does it do for BAT, I guess, other than maybe just the general overall ecosystem, Brave ecosystem, and growing that? Is there any other, I guess, specific use cases, say, especially for like Brave Talk, right? That kind of thing, and where does that relate to BAT, I guess, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, I think like with Brave Talk, are you talking, when you talk about BAT, are you talking about like the value of the token, or are you talking about the utility of the token?
Both, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like one path here with Brave Talk is the ability to have like a verified creator get tipped in a session or a live stream or something like that, right? There's been a lot of demand for that from creators that we've talked to, and that's an area where I think we'd be pretty competitive with some of the other with against the platforms that are out there. But I think also, getting more and more people using BAT, right? Like it just more and more holders of BAT, more and more utility. I think what we're trying to do is grow the ecosystem, but also, if you're earning more BAT, you are able to spend more BAT on premium features, on other goods and services we can offer, et cetera. So that's kind of a big deal, right? Like you want to be able to capture value for, those services through the ecosystem and have people kind of, flexing their attention for other purposes that we can offer.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. If we have any more, okay, we got Robert.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Perfect. I had a question. I don't know if anybody asked this question. I joined a little late, but I was wondering if there was any implication to BAT with iOS after the decision of the court between the case, after the decision of the court with the case between Epic Games and Apple. Did that change the fact that Brave users on iOS could potentially be able to earn BAT, or did that not change anything?
Didn't change it. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, it did not change it. It was about Apple letting the peasants link off to a different payment method somehow, or email their users of the app about a different payment method, which is pretty poor, but it's progress. And what we're up against are other App Store rules that are about users getting dealt into revenue streams. And so all I can say is stay tuned, because Apple is losing, and they just need to keep losing, and they need to wise up, because if they're really, like Brave is, a user-first privacy offering, then they should come around on this topic. But it might take time. Don't know.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks.
We have any other questions? I know we're wrapping. Oh, okay. We got one from Lambo Larry.
Yeah.
Lambo
Yeah.
Larry. Sorry.
So, as the number of internet users who have ad blocking software increase each year, is there any chance of corporations suing ad blocking companies, or governments adding regulation to ad blocking software?
I don't think so. The case law is on our side. This is endpoint software. You can do what you want by the design of the web standards. You can choose to consume only part of the HTML. You can block embedded scripts and other things. That's important for accessibility, which is governed by Americans with Disabilities Act in the United States and similar laws elsewhere. And the case law on ad blocking is strong. In Germany, Axel Springer has tried suing IO GmbH at Cologne multiple times, and they've lost every time. I think they only won on one part of a suit, and that didn't really matter. Basically, users have rights to block stuff. It's your machine, it's your browser, you can block. So I don't think there's going to be any turnaround on this. Even the US FTC, which is not weighed in here, and does try to regulate things that they regard as deceptive practices, tends to promote the consumer's rights above businesses. That's been the FTC bias. So I'm not worried about that.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Good questions today. Let's see here. Is a client-side social aggregator a possibility? If so, what would that look like?
Me and my big mouth, right? I talked about this on Lex Fridman. I tweeted about it.
Yeah.
It would look like something that saves your posts so you own them, and they're logged to your iCloud in my case, and they don't take even as much space as my photos do. So that's not an issue. You'd also have your direct outgoing follow relations saved. So you keep track of people and try to sync up with them through your address book on other social networks. And this kind of front end is exciting to me because it would allow you to weave together different conversations across multiple platforms. You could even cope with bogus cancellations or censorships. Somebody gets censored on one platform and they pop up on another. And if you can link them in your address book, you can see the continuity. You can keep talking to them, and you could tag your friends in a way that resurrects them for your friends too. So this decentralizes the power away from the Twitters and gives the user the rights that they should have, because they're the ones who originated the social relations. They're the ones who originate the posts.
It's awesome. Yeah. You got one question. Will there be a NFT marketplace for BAT2? And I think it's interesting. If you look at OpenSea, right? Like OpenSea and others are too have options. OpenSea actually has an option for BAT to be accepted for NFTs now. So I think there's nothing stopping anybody from doing this, and some people actually are right now. I even have played around with it, and I think that it would, if there's demand there for it, we can explore it right now. I think it's something, it would be cool to see the community get engaged with NFTs with BAT, and we can play along with this too. And I think, but there's a lot of competition in the NFT space right now. And, but yeah, I think that what's more likely is to see us plug into, like the OpenSeas and other big marketplaces that are functional, that have volume that we can tap into first. And then, but you can create BAT markets within OpenSea, right? Like in some of these other NFT marketplaces too. So it's so early with NFTs that it would be really cool. I think that it's just a natural pair too. Fungible attention tokens, non-fungible tokens, it's all in the attention sphere. I'd love to see more of that, and we'll start doing more. Like the POAP is even another example, right? But I think associating BAT with NFTs is something we could do more of, because they are pretty closely related. All right, we are. Anybody else have any questions on here? Because we're kind of.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
So yeah, it's just the big bad wolf, but they're slowly dying. You're jumping on their shoulders. So the company's growing. So what is there any companies that you guys are thinking about acquiring, or because I know you guys did buy something for the browser search. You guys had bought a company there. So what other companies potentially? I mean, I don't want to get you guys to say anything you don't want to say, but it would be interesting to know what type of companies you guys are looking to buy possibly.
I can't say right now, but in my experience, most acquisitions are disasters. I'll give Zuckerberg rare praise from me, because he bought Instagram and WhatsApp, and people thought he overpaid. He didn't. He also left them alone, which was very smart, because if you try to combine them for the synergies, and you end up causing founder exits and key staff turnovers, it falls apart fast. And I can just point to Netscape, AOL, Time Warner as one example, or two examples. But what we would like to do, if we can, if it makes sense, is get into spaces we haven't acquired the talent for, where the talent is really hard to come by. So as you might imagine, that could involve, new blockchains or DeFi projects, things like that. But I'm not telling you anything that's about to happen. So I'm not spilling the beans. Just how we think about acquisitions.
Valid, very valid.
All right. Are there any other questions? I know we're running over the hour, and I'm trying to be mindful of folks' time here. David.
Hey, what's going on, Luke? You're a beast. I was just wondering if you guys get any updates from Grayscale on how much institutional interest is in BAT or in Brave and BAT right now.
I know that Grayscale actually yesterday just tweeted out a summary of the holdings that they have. So I would take a look at their Twitter. They posted that out. But we don't have much other insight to provide other than that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Unless there are any other questions that are popped up here. All right. Let's adjourn now, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks, Brendan and Jimmy, for dropping in. This is awesome.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.